think his career has been handled brilliantly. There was a dividing point where he just decided he didn't want professional guidance, management, lawyers. He got tired of paying commissions. This was a guy that during the entire time I was affiliated with him, didn't care what anything cost. And along with the sense of entitlement I was talking about, he was also that artist that did not manage his money wisely. We had some of the most successful world tours in the world until you looked at the bottom line at the end of the tour and said, where'd all the money go? And that was because we had cars driving him to the stage that were part of the set. We had a show in the round called Love Sexy that took up half the arena floor that should have been seats we were selling. It was, this kind of brilliant creativity, but with absolutely no concern for cost. We were overstaffed, we were over geared up. If you could get by with 4 lights, he had 10. Didn't care what anything cost. The answer always was, Prince, we can't afford it, it's not in the budget. That's what I pay you for, to find the money. I don't even want to hear that. Find the money or you're not doing your job. That was his attitude toward management. At some point after the record sales started to slow, he started paying attention to the commission checks that were going to managers and lawyers, and he fired everybody. That didn't include me. It actually happened a couple of years before I left, so I was kind of the last hurrah of the old regime. And by the time I left, I don't think there's been anybody really, I don't want to say professional because that's insulting to the people that he works with, but the caliber of people that were around his management company were high. His attorneys and everybody else were like A-list, A players. And right now you're hard pressed to even know anybody other than a few people in his band. But it's worked for him because he learned enough to know how to do the things that a lot of management people do. Now we could sit and quibble over how the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and so on and so on. He was way ahead of the game when it came to making use of the computer as a sales tool. We had an argument in 1989 about the way his records were distributed. I need to get off a record label. We should just go on TV, and this was really pre-internet impact. But it was a precursor to that because he said we should just go on TV and do one of those infomercials and sell my records that way. That way I could release a record every month.
I would love that.
And, I mean, this was a serious conversation. This wasn't just kicking it. And I'm like, Prince, yeah, but there's such a thing as a contract with Warner's and so on. He's like, well, we'll do it under another name and we'll put the label and you'll run the label. I said, I can't. I'm running your label. It's a joint venture for Warner's. I'll go to jail. Put in your wife's name. Gwen will run the label. and I mean, he was serious because it's like Warner's wouldn't release 3 records a year. I mean, he was, excuse the expression, he had studio diarrhea. He could have made 3 records a year. And he's the kind of artist that when he finishes a record, he wants the impact of people hearing it immediately. Yeah. Like, let's put it out tomorrow. This is the immediacy of the message in the music. It's like, if I put this in the vault, it's not going to have the relevance whenever it comes out. So he was really frustrated with the whole thing. And that was a precursor to understanding the internet and social media and all the things that have followed. I think he's been really, really brilliant. This is a guy who sells more tickets now and makes more money on the road than he did at his peak. And he hasn't had a record in how many years? 20-some years? So who else can say that?